Hey YouTube, I had a alarm go off on my septic system the other day. I have a aerobic system, so I have 4 chambers in my septic system. I have the stinky chamber, aerator chamber, the pre-clean chamber, and then basically the clean chamber that gets chlorinated. And then I have a pump in that chamber that pumps my clean water out to a sprinkler system, two sprinkler heads out in the back side of my house. So my alarm was going off and I went to check on it and got on YouTube to see what I could find, and basically learned that either my pump had an issue or my aerator had an issue. And this is a video about repairing of the aerator. Hope it helps some people. Thanks for watching.
So this went off a couple days ago and I didn't know what was going on, but I watched a lot of videos and it says that you've got a mute right here and you just turn that, but you still have your red light, so you know there's a problem. And during my time of research, I learned that it's either the water, the clean water in your last tank in your septic system, and this is an aerobic system, so I have 4 chambers. This first chamber is the shit chamber, stinky chamber. The second chamber is the aerator chamber, and basically it has the bacteria that eats all the nastiness to keep your system in check and working properly so that it doesn't overfill too quickly with its sludge. And this is the doghouse that covers the aerator, and that pipe goes down and runs in here, and it's supposed to provide oxygen for your bacteria so the bacteria will eat up the sludge and keep this from clogging up. This chamber, as the sludge and water rises, comes into the third chamber, and the third chamber is a cleaner version, and then from the third chamber it goes to your chlorinated chamber. So when it goes into here, it's mostly clear water, clean water, coffee-ish, and this is a chlorinator here. I just put regular chlorine in it, laundry chlorine, and it treats the chlorine in here. And then my field, instead of a wheat field, if you see the PVC pipe out there, those are sprinkler heads, and at a certain time of day those sprinkler heads come on and they'll spray until the level here in this chamber gets below a float that's in there, or sensor. So there's 3 sensors in this chamber. The lower sensor, when the water touches it, means that when the timer works in this controller, the sprinklers will come on and reduce your volume in this chamber. There's a second meter, and if the water gets there, it overrides the timer and automatically will start running your sprinklers to reduce the liquid in this chamber. Then the third one, if the water gets to that one, your alarm goes off. That means there's a pump if this chamber is up to your third sensor or float. So the other item is that this is a single light warning, so this light could also mean there's issue with my aerator. And what I found is that I'm fine in my chamber. It's only at the level I took this off the other day, and the water's only at my first float sensor. I then evaluated my aerator and it wasn't running, and So I took my doghouse off and reviewed it, and what I've learned is the diaphragms inside the aerator were trash. And that's what the red light is. These are the old diaphragms that were inside. You can see that it's not supposed to be like that. These are bad. And these are my packet that I ordered from Amazon. Sorry, excuse me. And this is a new diaphragm. That's what it's supposed to look like. Solid, you can push on it. And I got those, I'm going to show you on my phone, on Amazon for $17.95. I would suggest you order 2 of those, so if it ever goes out again, you automatically have another one ready to go. So I'm going to show you the execution and the diagnosis that I went through. So there's 2 screws here and here. You take those out and you open this up, and you have your breaker boxes. This breaker box is for your aerator, so we've taken the power from there. You have another one that is for your pump, and your third one is for your timer and controller. So there's no power coming here. So I already know that it's my aerator because I checked this and the aerator wasn't working. Some of them have 2 lights, a yellow and a red, and if the yellow comes on, it's your aerator, and if the red one comes on, it's your pump. So I found that it's the aerator, and I'm going to show you how to change this and go through the procedures. The other thing you want to do is find your main power. Those breakers should work, but there's still power going in. So just like that for your air conditioner units, real similar. Pull that. Now we have no power coming to our controller there. So with all the power off, we're going to expose the aerator, and it's just a doghouse just like this. You want to kind of make sure you don't have any varmints or anything. Like I said, 2 days ago I was in here and all was good. So I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to open this up. You have 4 screws. It's a Phillips screwdriver or a hex. And then that just comes off. You look underneath, make sure it's all clean. There's a new filter. You have a filter that's underneath here that I'll show you. I haven't opened this up, but it gets inspected and cleaned out. But this is your little filter right here. That's not too dirty. It's pretty clean. This is only 2 years old, a little over 2 years old. Alright, that's pretty tight. So this is just a sound vibration suppressor. It's not a filter. It's made of kind of filter material, but that just slides off and it just keeps the sound down by reducing the vibration of this motor. So you have 2 air exports from the aerator, and basically inside here there's a magnet that goes back and forth. There's diaphragms on each side, and it pumps these diaphragms to create air and pressure. And it goes out here to our second chamber that I showed you as our aerator chamber, and it puts oxygen in it to enhance the bacteria to do its job. You have another clear tube here that runs through, runs underneath, and it runs inside of your controller so that it knows if this is pumping or not. If the pressure isn't coming through, then this is going to register that the aerator is having a problem. So once you get this taken off, you want to remove that hose, this hose, and this hose. And then get you air compression and spray through this side of the hose to make sure it's clean, there's no clog. And then you just connect it back where it goes inside there. You connect this one. Then you want to do the same thing to this. You want to open the top of your second chamber, which is your aerator chamber, and use compressed air. I had a compressor and used my little air pistol and blew it in there, and it bubbled. So I know that my feed is clear. So I know this is good already. So now I'd already taken this apart. What I learned is there's a plastic screw that goes through here and holds this contact. Make sure you have a good look of it. This is a plastic bolt, basically. Has a flat screwdriver head and a nut. And these connect to hold our connectors, our metal connectors touching. So this goes through, there's a hole that goes through here, this little plastic screw, and it's designed that it goes all the way through here, and if the little magnet breaks, it pops up and breaks this screw and breaks this connection so the pump won't burn out when it's not working properly. So this has to be replaced, and we have that in our kit. As you can see, then we'll put that back together. But we're going to take these off, and the diaphragms go inside here. I already took my old ones off, but we're going to go through the process. So there's 4 screws on each side that we have to take out. And by the way, this shows which model I have. I have the HP 800117, and it's the high blow. So I use that search on Amazon to make sure I got the right parts. Now, the other thing is there's a 7mm nut that holds the diaphragms on with washer. There's a nut. There's the washer. There's one on both sides. This one I can do by hand since I took it off not too long ago. And here's your magnet that goes in. So these are magnets. They go inside there and it goes back and forth, and it works those diaphragms to create the pressure. So these are all good. I'm going to put this back in. Then we're going to put our new diaphragm on, and you can see we have our hole there, and you have grooves on the inside that go on your magnet part right there, and that fits ahead and put my washer and nut on to hold it in place. We'll do the other side, and you can see this fits this way, so this long go against there and this goes inside there. There we go. I'm gonna put this nut on. There we go, that one's snapped in now. Just hand tight. So what we're supposed to do here. So those are on. Now we're going to put our covers on. Secure the hoses. These are the hoses that pump down and go through. Provide the air. And I'm going to go ahead and connect this hose. Hold that on. So the last thing we have to do is to put our safety screw in. When I opened mine, the bolt was inserted this direction, but I watched a couple videos and they showed inserting the bolt this way and connecting it. So this seems to be the easiest way to thread it through, to make sure that our connectors are touching. Use this nut and a screwdriver and just hold the nut with my fingers, because the bolt being plastic, it's purposely created to be fragile. So that's screwed on. Alright, so this little white thing is the nut that goes on the screw that connects these two plates. It was kind of hard to get on, but I slid it this way and put the nut over here. These two metals are touching now. The screw's in and everything's tight to flow. So if something goes wrong, like the reason this quit working was my diaphragms quit working, and it kept the magnet inside from staying in its chamber, and it came loose and it pops up, and when it does, it comes up and breaks the bolt, and when that bolt breaks, our connectors spread out and quit creating connection for electricity to run the motor in the pump. So we've got that done, then so we're ready to go. It's a matter of putting our suppressor back on, and once this is running, you want to put your ear to your aerator chamber. Mine is the second one right here. So the aerator air pumps into this, so I could put my ear to this once this is running and hear it bubbling from the oxygen and air coming through, which then reacts with the bacteria, which eats your solids up. Start this, get this back on, seed your screws. Alright, we're gonna plug our main power back in. And then we're going to power these on. So our last thing to do is to test the system, and this breaker gives power to the pump that sends our water, our clean water, out to the irrigation part. This breaker turns our aerator on. You can hear that. Can you hear that? So it's running. And then this turns on our timer. And the way this timer works is as it goes around, any of these that are down is not allowing the pump to work. So the pump is only turned on when these are up. So when it gets to midnight till 5 a.m. the pump is active. And then inside this chamber here where our clean water is, our bottom float or sensor, if water's touching it, then the pump will come on and spray the water out until the water's below that sensor, then it'll shut off. So then after 5 a.m. this tank will keep receiving water from the house, for the sewage water, and building up, and it'll come up above that first sensor, but it won't pump unless this turns it on, this timer turns it on. So I have it set to run from 12 to 5 a.m., midnight to 5 a.m. to reduce my fluid, septic clear water out, and it's chlorinated out into my field. And the way you set this timer is this little arrow tells you the time. And it's showing somewhere around 6:40 because it's 5 p.m., 7 p.m. and it's past the 6, so it's 6, and this goes this way as it moves, so this would be 6:30 if that's pointing there. So we're looking at around 6:40, 6:38, something like that. And I don't have my phone handy to look at the time, but it's close enough. But everything seems to be working. Now if I turn this aerator off, my alarm comes on. And that's what was going on before. So now everything's running good. So all that's left is to seal this, screw these screws in, and we're good to go. Everything's worked out. So I hope this helped you out. I appreciate you watching.